passionate researcher YouTube channel. Uh, Hope this video will give you some ideas about how to conduct a systematic literature review and meta-analysis. Then, if you have any doubts regarding this, kindly drop your doubts or queries or comments or suggestions in comment box. Based on that, I will improve the video and I will upload later. So now let's go on to this video, how to perform a systematic literature review and meta-analysis. First of all, I want to tell that systematic literature review is like a broad umbrella concept, right? Systematic literature review is different, meta-analysis is different. So systematic literature review is a common and broad concept. Under this, there are three types of synthesis. Quantitative synthesis is there, and second is qualitative synthesis. Third is mixed results, right? Combining both the quantitative and qualitative. So in this qualitative, you will tell systematic literature review will be done based on four or five types of analysis. There are various types of analysis, but broadly, four types of analysis is used. One is content analysis, second is thematic analysis, third one is narrative synthesis, fourth one is framework synthesis. So these are the broad, common used methods for synthesizing the multiple study results that I will show later in this video. Then the second types is quantitative types of synthesis. Under this only the meta-analysis will come. So meta-analysis is one type of quantitative synthesis, and second type is meta-regression. Third one is word counting method. Fourth one is forest plot. So later on I will discuss this elaborately. Just for the introduction level I am explaining this. Third one is mixed results. In that mixed results of quantitative and qualitative, for supporting the quantitative results you will give the qualitative statements in the descriptive way. Also, you can improve the theoretical framework, you can improve the conceptual model for your theory, you can build some policies, you can recommend any other frameworks for that theory, you can build some new other concepts or create new data or anything. So that is the third part of synthesis. From that meta-analysis, you are arriving from your own invention, right? So these are the overall idea of systematic literature review and meta-analysis. So I'm going to tell how to perform systematic literature review. The stages are identifying and reframing research question. First of all, if you are going to decide whether I'm going to do a systematic literature review or meta-analysis, you should decide the research question first. For that, deciding research question, what you do, you see some literature reviews or grey literatures or any other sources. Grey literature means what I can tell is grey literature means it's a kind of government reports or manuals, unpublished government reports. I'm telling. Then any other secondary sources from in your collected from your library, like that. You may have some idea from that grey literature also, and based on your researcher or your mentor or your colleague or co-scholar or your co-researcher, fellow friends, like that you may discuss and you get some ideas, right? So based on that, all facts and that relevance and feasibility of conducting your research, you decide the research question first and frame it as a one sentence research question, right? Not one line, one sentence research question I'm telling. So based on that, find that first. Second one is list out the study variables. So how to identify the study variables? From the research question itself, you should decide what are all the variables I need, what are all the dependent variable, what are all the independent variable. Like that you should decide first. Okay, if you don't variables is that art. And from the literature reviews, if you have the template articles for your research paper at the initial stage, based on that literature review, choose the study variables, right? um, the study variable should be clearly explicit and to explain whether it is a quantitative variable or qualitative variable. For example, qualitative means you can see the employees work pressure, employees work stress, students depression. Like that, these are the psychometric variables, psychological variables. You cannot measure it quantitatively, it is a qualitative measure, right? So these are the examples for qualitative. For quantitative, what you can imagine is you should numerically represent that variable, whether it may be income or savings or debt, then number of students in a class, population, sex ratio, literacy rate. Like that, you can quantify that, right? So these are the quantitative thing. You can measure it quantitatively using statistical formulas or anything. So based like that, you should decide parallelly for the from the research question. If you have identified the research question, parallelly, you should also decide what kind of analysis I'm going to conduct. Whether I'm going to collect the outcome of the study variables in a text format, or whether I'm going to collect the very outcome of the variables in a numerical format to analyze the multiple studies findings, right? Based on that only your next step follows. Otherwise, you will again go to the first stage for the framing research question, and again you will redesign or reformulate your research problem and restructure your research story and everything. So in order to avoid this, at the initial stage, be conscious and more clarity of designing these research question and building your study problem and get your study variables. Okay, fine. This is the second stage. At the third stage, you should identify the alternate vocabularies. What I have given here is you should find the similar words for your study variables. For example, I can tell if there is a term called crop diversification, means in the other studies they have used that term as crop diversification as crop diversity, crop diversification as multiple cropping, crop diversification as diversifying crops, crop diversification as more than two crops, crop diversification as non-monocrop, crop diversification as double cropping. Like that, they have mentioned in various forms or various vocabularies or any other similar words which provide the same meaning for the study variable, that term. So you should identify the similar terms used in studies. Why is this important to find the similar words? Because if you are going to conduct this systematic literature review, for every search, for every keyword search in a research database, that research database means nothing, it's a Google Scholar or ResearchGate Science Direct like thing, like that. For every search, keyword search in database, for every kind of words, there will be a different outcomes, different results. For example, if I'm going to search in crop diversification, means it will show 1000 results. If you are searching as a multiple cropping, it may show 2000 results. So the results varies. For that, you should collect all those similar words and you collect all those studies for your study. This will reduce your study selection bias. Okay, you cannot able to skip any other studies. So you are collecting all studies, right? So this is the third stage. Fourth stage is phrase two or three sentences using your variables or similar words. You should phrase as a research question. What are all the problems of farmers for not adapting best management practices? What are all the constraints of farmers for not applying best management practices? Like that, you should create some phrases to search in database. Steps to follow at the initial stage and keep this as aside. At the next stage, I'm going to tell uh, how to prepare the review protocol. This is like blueprint for your systematic literature review, right? First is you should clearly mention and state the research question. uh, you should mention that research question or objective explicitly in your study. First step. Second one is databases to be searched. How you are going to search your literatures. For that, you should mention the database. Databases are ResearchGate. RG is this is ResearchGate, Google Scholar, Web of Science, JSTOR, Scopus, Science Direct, Taylor and Francis, Springer, Wiley, and Oxford, Sage, Academia, Semantic Scholar, like PubMed. Like that, many research databases are available to search the literature reviews, right? Why searching literature reviews in these research databases are important means nowadays people are using AI also, but in AI, there are some limitations that I will show you later, right? But collecting the literature reviews in research databases is most authenticated and acceptable in journals, publications also. So that is important for your entire paper writing process, and it improves the quality of your paper, right? For AI collection process, I will come later on. Then you will get some clarity on that. So you should clearly mention the database. What I suggest is you can collect the literatures either in one or two research databases at the beginner level. uh, in my case, I have utilized more than uh, nine, not more than exactly. I have used 10 databases for collecting literature reviews, and nearly 4,000 studies I have collected and filtered and arrived for 53 studies like that. From 53 studies, I have arrived for 84 observations. So like that, the study outcome will come. So like that, you should mention the number of databases you are going to collect the literature, right? Then third one is search keywords and strings. So I have given here the boolean operators and, or, not, or, neither. Neither also you can use, right? See, at the initial stage, what I have told, uh, my research question is what are all the problems of farmers for not adapting best management practices? Like that, I have mentioned. So, for each word, you should add and in between. What are all the, what and or all the, like that, you should do. I will type here what. You should put the caption and write what or the, then again and, like that. For each and every word you should add and, right? This is one type, this is one method. I like that. You should write the complete research question. For example, I'm going to tell what are the problems. Second, the next upcoming word is problems. For that, for this, I can tell problems. In some other study, they may mention it as issues. For that, I can write OR issues or constraints. Like that, for similar vocabularies, I'm using the term OR. Okay, I want to exclude that. Um, Reasons. I don't want reasons. For example, I'm just telling I don't want, so no, not reasons. I don't want to add um, obstacles. Obstacles, right? So add not obstacle. So it will exclude the term obstacles. The Boolean string, you can give your criteria. What are all the words I want? What are the similar words to be added? What are all the words not to be added? Like that, you may give all the details in a prompt in ChatGPT or DeepSeek. Means it will create you the Boolean string for search keyword. Based on that search keyword, you just copy these Boolean strings search keyword and paste it in the search space in research database, and then you can collect your literature reviews and all, right? So this is the third step in this review protocol. Fourth criteria is inclusion and exclusion criteria. Inclusion and exclusion criteria, on what basis the study is selected or rejected. For the inclusion criteria, the common inclusion criteria are, first of all, uh, I am going to tell the number of criterias can be included. These are the possibilities of any other meta-analysis papers. Based on that, I am telling the criterias, how to include the, how to give the criteria for inclusion and how to exclude it. For inclusion, I will give, I want only English language oriented article. Only English language oriented article. Second one is I want a specific time period oriented. I want only the recent 20 years of study. Other than that, I will exclude it. Like that, you should mention the time period of the study. Study. The papers published in the time period only you will collect. So mention that. Third criteria is the paper only should be a journal article, not a gray literature. Okay, gray literature means unpublished government reports or manuals or any other thing like that. Okay, so paper published only in journal publications and only the journal articles are going to be selected. That is included. Other than that, are all excluded. Then fourthly, I can tell I don't want to, oh sorry, I want to collect the only published complete paper. I don't want a partial paper, right? Some paper may have title and abstract alone. The full paper will be not given. So you can exclude. You cannot able to add that. So you should mention that as a inclusion criteria, that full paper article only I'm going to collect, right? Then fifth criteria is I'm going to collect the only the statistical result oriented study. All my study variables are quantitative, so I need a quantitative outcome of all the study variables. So the studies which are all consist of the quantitative results I'm going to select. None of the studies are rejected. Like that you can mention. That is up to your criteria, right? So based on a research question, you should fix your inclusion and exclusion criteria. Then fifth stage is screening and quality assessment plan. How we are going to screen your literatures. Screening means nothing but you are going to see the give the look of all the papers. How to select this paper or not. How I can select this paper, how I can reject this paper. Like that, you are going to screen in stage by stage process. Like that, you should mention in a flow chart or table format diagram based on the PRISMA convention reporting method that I will tell you later. Right? This is the screening and quality assessment plan. You should mention in the screening stages that I will show later. Then seventh stage is data extraction method. How you are going to extract means how you are going to collect the data from the literature review, multiple studies. Okay, how you are going to collect. I use Atlas TI, NVO, Swift software, and nowadays AI is also there. So I will merge the PDFs and I will upload in AI, and I will give the prompt according to my research question and my need. Based on that, it will give the output, and I will summarize that in Excel table and all I will do. Like that, you should mention how you are going to extract the data collection method for your system. The data extraction method using those softwares or any other AI platforms. Okay, then last step is how you are going to synthesize your data. So if you have collected all those data using those softwares or AI platforms or anything you have collected, so how you are going to synthesize the multiple results from the multiple studies. For that, there are various types of analysis out there. Whether you are if you have quantitatively numerically collected, you can perform meta analysis, or else if you have collected only the text oriented output, means you can perform content analysis, thematic, narrative synthesis, like that you can do, right? Content analysis is nothing but you should summarize your results based on your study variables or study research question. Based on that, you will present your study findings from your multiple studies. Thematic analysis means based on your study theme. Um, if you have some set of research questions, means for if you have 10 broad research question is there, but if you want to question for any 10 or 20 questions are there to address from multiple studies, means for each research question you can give the answer, like paragraph like that you can do. In narrative synthesis this is also same, explaining your research findings based on your theoretical format or conceptual framework, or like anything you can synthesize and present it, right? So these are the synthesis method, and synthesis method are broadly explained in explain in terms of the types of analysis are there, like content, thematic, narrative, and framework synthesis also there. Some studies may have frameworks. In that framework, you can fit your results. Like that, you can present. So, how to conduct the systematic literature review process then? Okay. So far, I have told the review protocol. Now, I am going to tell how to collect it and what are all the differences between this literature review process, literature search process, right? mm, if you are collecting literatures in AIs, that AI has some limitations. For example, see, the consensus AI shows that they are extracting the data, the extracting the literature from Google semantic scholar and open alex alone. See, elicit AI mentions that they are collecting the literature reviews from PubMed, semantic scholar, open alex, PubMed alone. Then connected papers, they are explicitly mentioning that papers or databases connected to the semantic scholar, based on that only they are compiling the literatures. So it will not get literatures from Scopus or elsewhere or Web of Science, Taylor and Francis, nothing. It will collect the papers from this single database alone. So without conscious about this information, how you can tell your studies are more reliable and the results are unbiased, like that you can tell. We cannot tell like that, right? See, there are another case also. If you are going to use only the semantic scholar database, then it is fine. Otherwise, if you are conducting a systematic literature review, there is a systematic process of collecting the literature review. That's why they are mentioning the systematic, rigorous collecting literature review, comprehensive literature review. So, in order to avoid the bias or not to reduce the bias, only this systematic literature review is the platform to conduct the research. So you should go for the research databases and collect the literatures for each database. So A is one of the option that is up to your study inclusion and exclusion criteria, right? Then I will tell how to search, how to screen based on Prisma. Should remove the duplicate studies. Why removing duplicate studies is there means, if you are collecting literatures from multiple databases, there is a possibility of collecting repeated studies that maybe you may be aware or sometimes you may not be aware. In order to avoid that, first of all you should remove the duplicate studies. How to remove the duplicate studies? If you find it is a repeated study in the collection stage itself, then it is fine. It is not necessary now, because you have rejected at the time also, no. So uh, if you have collected the studies repeatedly, with knowingly or unknowingly, you should do this process defaultly. How to do this? I use Zotero software. Zotero. Zotero, Zotero software. So in that software, it's a open software and it's a non-paid. Just I will type you here, Zotero, right? Zotero software. In this, you can upload your studies. Then you see the duplicate files that I will show you in a separate video. That because that's that's for a 5 minutes process. And if you upload your studies, and it will show the duplicate studies, and you can remove that. Like there is no remove option. There will be a merge two items as one. Like that option will be there. Original study in there and the repeated study will also be there. So just click that and see the option in the right side. It will show merge two items. Just if you click that means it will remove the duplicate study. Like that you should remove the duplicate studies, and you should note down how many studies have removed. Like that you should mention. Then remove irrelevant studies. Remove irrelevant studies, apply inclusion criteria and exclusion criteria strictly. Okay. In this process, you have four stages of rejection, that is title screening, abstract screening, full paper screening with identifying study variables availability, and stage 4 rejection is you should check whether all the study variables are available in that collected study or not. Based on that, you should select the study at the final stage. In the stage 1 rejection, you have the list of studies. Imagine title stage 1 rejection is title screening, right? uh, Imagine if you have 500 studies. Okay, if you have 500 studies means you just going to review that by title screening. You see the title. If you want a regional based study means you can select the regional based studies. If you want only quantitative oriented studies means in the title itself they have mentioned, right? Then you can pick your study easily. Like that you have some idea of choosing that paper based on the title. Based on the title itself you may select or reject. Okay, that is the stage 1 rejection. Then stage 2 rejection is abstract screening. How to abstract this screening? The in the abstract screening, there should be a requirement of um, explicit mentioning the objectives or research question and the methodology they have adopted and the findings they have arrived. Like that, they should be explicitly mentioned. Okay, and also if you find the study variables in the abstract, also you may select, right? In some cases the abstract will not be more clear, but the full paper will be clear. We cannot able to decide whether it can be selected or not selected like that. In that case, you just select the abstract in the selection criteria, and the full paper screening you may filter it, right? So based on that, the abstract screening will be processed. Then third stage is rejection of full paper screening and its rejection. So, if you have the 10 study variables, if you have 10 study variables, you should see all those availability of study variables. If you have a, quantitative based variables requirement is there, means you should identify the variables with quantitative outcome, right? For mean, standard deviation, standard error, or any other statistical measure like correlation, regression, and odds ratio, risk ratio, like many statistical measures are there. So the quantitative measure, quantitative outcome is given for your study variable or not. Based on that, you should select your study variable, right? Then you should identify all the availability of study variables also. If there is unavailability of study variables, you should skip that study variable, otherwise it will not give you the authenticated results. Then stage 4 rejection, availability of study variables and the select and select the studies. Okay, in the stage 3, you have screened the full paper for screening the availability of study variables with your requirement. If it is a qualitative study, you should see whether the qualitative variables outcome is given for your study variable or not. For all study variables, for all your selected study variables, in there should be a outcome of the variable, whether in text or numerical, whether quantitative or qualitative, that is your choice. If it is a qualitative, means you should see the outcome of that variable. For example, employees work pressure, means the pressure range will be they have given, pressure is high, pressure is low, like that they have uh, right for their results. Like that there should be a output for your variables, or else the output may be in a descriptive or a narrative manner. Like that also you can take. Based on that, every study should have that narrative based outcome. So you can select that like that. Then quantitative means you should have the output in a numerical number, right? So based on that, you should select, you will screen. Based on that only you will filter, and again in the stage 4, you are going to finalizing the studies. Like so, you are screening at the final stage whether all the study variables, all the outcomes are given properly or not, whether I can extract the data uniformly for all the studies in my synthesis table. Like that you should imagine and finalize all those studies. Okay, every study should need a sample size in meta-analysis. So the sample size is required, mean is required, standard deviation is required. Like that, I will tell later in the upcoming slides. Like that, you should see all the availability of study variables and its outcome. You should imagine that whether I can extract all the data for my study variable for the synthesis table or not. Like that, you should imagine and check all those selected studies once and filter it. This is the final stage screening. So if you've done all these process, how you can present this process transparently, means, see, this is the outcome of your research search process, literature search process. I have collected literature reviews from these 9 research databases and collected these number of studies, 3972 studies I have collected. See, in Science Direct, I have collected 501, Semantic Scholar 957 studies, Whaley 727, ResearchGate 100 studies, Springer 337, Taylor and Francis 701 studies, Academia 62 studies, Oxford 69, and JSTOR 518 studies I have collected. Then in the duplicate studies, I have found that 30 studies are removed. were removed. Okay. Then in the title rejection, then abstract rejection, then selected studies. So like that you should explicitly provide the screening process of your research literature research process in this table. Then only uh, you have the clarity and you have the confidence that what am I done, whether I am doing right or not wrong. Like that you have that clarity and you gain the confidence and you can teach your fellow friends, right? Traction sheet inclusion criteria, right? This is the stage where you can arrive after the collection of all literature reviews. Now you have selected 100 or 80 studies. Imagine that you have selected 80 studies, right? From that 80 studies, how you are going to synthesize your results from these number of studies? What are all the requirement you needed? How to extract the study variables? Okay, in what way you can collect that? Like that, you have a n number of questions, right? For that only, I have given the requirement for the extraction of data. Whether it is a qualitative study or quantitative study, the common variables to be collected in those studies are: first is author, year, study region, sample size. For all these, I will show the Excel sheet also. See, author, year, study region, and sample size. You should be mention all those things in the Excel sheet for all studies, right? You should collect these basic details: author, comma, year, then study region as a separate column, sample size as a separate column. After that, if you are going to conduct a qualitative synthesis, means you will do only the SLR under the qualitative synthesis, qualitative, right? So you extract the outcome of key variables. Maybe the variables may be one variable, two variable, three variable, or any, how many variables. It depends on your study. For all those study variables, give a separate column for each variable and provide the outcome of it. How the outcome has given in that study, just list that. If they are given in a one sentence, just copy that and paste. If they have given two sentence, copy that and paste for that in that variable column, right? Like that you should give for each study and for each variable. Okay. Then the second thing, if you are collecting the study for the meta-analysis for quantitative synthesis, means for addition to this, study region or sample size or the addition to this, and for all those study variables, you should collect the numerical values also. Okay, for outcome of the key variables is in text format for the qualitative synthesis, but for the meta-analysis for the quantitative synthesis, you should give the numerical output for those study variables, right? Then in addition to these two, this one and this one, you should add the additional stuffs. That is, sample size already given. You should give the mean value, standard deviation or standard error, variance. Actually, all these are not necessary to collect from those studies. In some studies, they might given only mean. In some studies, they might given only standard deviation. In some studies, they given only variance. In some studies, they given only statistical measure and mean and sample size. Like that, the studies have some variations in providing results. So, based on that, just collect that. Uh, in this inclusion and exclusion criteria itself, you will check all those things. Whether study have given the mean, standard deviation, standard error. If there is a standard deviation, you can calculate standard error. If there is a variance, you no need to require a standard deviation or standard error or anything. Like that, there is a requirement criteria for all those meta-analysis studies. Then a statistical measure, how the outcome is given: correlation, regression, odds ratio, risk ratio, chi-square. Okay. In every study they have the different kind of statistical measure and different kind of output in the numerical thing. Don't worry, that is a simple thing. You can be convert into a common metric. For that formula or formulas are there that I will show you later. Okay, first understand the requirement and the need and the conceptual thing, how to conduct this, right? Then based on the requirement of these based on the calculation of based on the collection of these numerical values, you should calculate effect size. Weight is nothing but w is equal to 1 by standard error, 1 by standard error square. So this is the formula you will calculate for weight. Okay, then significance test for heterogeneity or homogeneity to be calculated using H test or Cochrane test. Then after that you will go for a publication bias to see the funnel plot. That is nothing but a scatter plot of your FFX sizes. Okay, the studies less than 10 studies is not reliable. Actually, statistically and scientifically, many studies are giving that publication bias need to be performed, whether the studies more than 10 studies are like that. But in my experience, if you have 30 studies it will be good to see. Otherwise it will be more deviated and the result will be more significant and more what you can tell, you cannot arrive for the conclusion with the 10 studies. So minimum 30 studies is required for this, for conducting this systematic literature and meta-analysis. Okay, why the publication bias is required here means, see, if you have collected many studies, all studies may be a significant result based study only. Some studies are insignificant at many two or three number only. So the publication bias will be, there will be a bias of the study. Uh, if I show the diagram later, it's like a funnel plot. Every studies are significant means how you can tell like that, because in the publication they will publish only if you have the significant results they will publish. If the studies are insignificant and studies is not good and the study may be failure, your objective may be failure or like that means the study will not get published. Like that, there will be publication bias also there. You can mention that as a study limitation and you can do the trim and fill method after publication bias, and again recollect some studies and insignificant result based studies and perform the publication bias and see that that study will be, see the uniform scattered plots for the studies. The study has collected either both for significant result oriented studies and insignificant result oriented studies. Like that, the diagram will show. After that, you can perform a forest plot. In forest plot, you see whether for your research question whether the studies have shown more significant results or most insignificant results. Like that, it will show as a outcome of that research question. Right. See, this is the forest plotter. Based on some 14 studies, I have performed this at a minimum level to show you the forest plot. See, all these are significant result. Like that, what I have mentioning here is, I am arguing that crop diversification practice yield more income than the single cropping method, right? For that, I have collected some studies, and all those studies shows that yes, crop diversification is increasing the income pattern. Some studies are not telling that no monocropic gives more income. Some studies are very stable in income. Like that, the effect sizes have represented visually in the forest plot diagram. You can perform this forest plotter using this forest plotter package or meta package in or software. Then this is the publication bias. See, the study have collected the significant result based studies and the insignificant result based studies also. right? So the study will be more transparent and the result will be authenticated and give the significant results, and there is a heterogeneity of the study between the monocropping and crop diversification. And you can perform this publication by using metaphor, meta or metagraph packages in all software. Simple. So you can do like this. Then in publication process, you see the MDPA journal and the Ville, everyone is mentioned telling that PRISMA guidelines is required for the publishing meta-analysis. That's it. Thank you guys. Hope this video will be more helpful to you and leave your comments. Thank you.